I'll mostly be talking about mastering my new song for the new Brain Smack album, which was recorded 24 years ago and released this week. So this is a pretty amazing story, really. Bootsauce broke up in 1995, although we didn't really break up, we just kind of fizzled out more than anything. Then afterwards, it was myself and Alan Baculus did an album with my dad called Meantime. The band was called Meantime, and the album was called Welcome Mother Earth. That came out in 1995. So myself and Al were still hanging out and doing stuff with that record. We were meant to do a concert with the Meantime band for the Jazz Fest in Montreal. And what happened? Oh yeah, the last Bootsauce tour must have came up and we had to leave then and couldn't do the Meantime show. So we never ended up doing a show as Meantime ever, which is a real shame. So basically the Bootsauce tour then happened in the summer. So after that, the band just fizzled out. So in 1996, a friend of mine, Serge Laforêt, who owns a studio called Audio Z in Montreal, he had seen the band a few times, and he basically asked if we wanted to come in and record an album at his absolutely fantastic studios in Montreal. And of course that's what we did. So myself and Alan we probably wrote somewhere in the area of 15 songs or something like that, and then I recorded, fairly certain we recorded 12 songs for this album, which we were going to call Brain Smack. In fact, we were going to call the band Brain Smack, try and go out touring it as well. It never happened. Johnny played on the record as well. Myself and Alan did all the other stuff, all the other playing. And Serge and Gaetan did some of the keyboard stuff and that. Gaetan was his partner at the time. I can't remember his last name, unfortunately. A long time ago. We finished the record and we were looking to find a record company to release it for us. And things started to get bad in 1996 in terms of how the recording industry was going. Very difficult to try and find someone who would actually put the record out for us. Testify is out. It came out last week.
Pigs and gibbets walk the corridor. Swollen livers, fat bottom matadors. They try to tell me to rehearse my faces. That's hard to do when I know what the case is.
So then, I guess about 6 months went by, which is kind of normal for records in those days. In any case, you couldn't get anything put out immediately the way you can now. Getting close to 1997, and nothing had happened, so I came to Ireland and we basically just forgot about the record, and it just went on the shelf, and that was that. Things went as they do, and I totally forgot about the album. And basically, year after year, I just continued to do my own thing. I did an album with Corky Lang from the group Mountain, used to be our A&R man at Polygram in Canada. He came and visited, and I played on an album with himself, Mo Redding, and Eric Schenkman from the Spin Doctors. That was 97 or 1998. The Crazy Chester Band came up, and we've been doing that for, I guess, about 12 years now, you know.
You see your baby loves to dance, yeah.
About 12 years, I think. Maybe even longer, actually. In any case, in the last couple of months, I've been putting out so much music of my own. I have my own little label. Alan said, well, hey, look, why don't we try and put this record out? So I got back in touch with Serge Laforêt, who has the masters of the album, and basically said, sure, why not? We might as well put it out, you know. Otherwise, no one's ever going to hear the record. So that's basically what happened. I'm just going to show you how I remastered the original files from 1996. The first thing I did was drop the file into a Logic Pro template, which I have for mastering, like that. So this is what the original sounds like right here. bring it over the verses and into the testify bit. Right. So this is what it sounded like initially. So the first thing I did was to bring up my span and also my Julian loudness meter. This is a free plugin as well. These two are free, span and that. So let me just find places to take them into. Right there. Right, and I'll turn these both on.
Should be sleeping, it's good for my eyes. Should have kept them working.
We can see how hot these are and where the peaks are. Now my biggest problem is I was worried a little bit about this guy right here and that area, because I think that was way too hot there, and that was the reason why it was sounding so thin. First thing I did was then to get out the EQ, which is right here. And now listen to the difference. So I dropped the 5K. Actually, what I did was I grabbed it and went looking for that nasty bit and brought it right out where that cut is right here. And that's where that high top end stuff was. I dropped that out like that. And then I did a low cut with a small boost at about 50. I guess, I'm not sure where that is actually, but about 40 or so, or 35, something like that. And then boosted a little bit around 50 to give it a little bit more bottom end thickness. And then I boosted a tiny bit using a high shelf upwards from 10 to 20K, just to give it a little bit of sizzle. Because I wanted to give it a little bit of the beautiful tube sound, I put this into it. This is without it.
Should be sleeping, it's good for my eyes.
This is with it.
Kept them working, burning my files.
So all it does is put a little bit of tiny bit of sheen on the thing and a bit of low again, just to get the really get that coming out. I'm not sure if you can see these very well, but let's have a look at this right there. Say hello. Say hello to my little friend. The Vintage Tube EQ is a Logic plugin, and it sounds fantastic. Use that to give it a little bit of warmth in the bottom end. I'll listen to it about, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 times, maybe, to make sure that that was exactly how I wanted it. And then from there, what I did is I brought in the BX Master Desk. This is the only plugin that you have to pay for, unfortunately. I got the BX Master Desk from Plugin Alliance, and I got it when they were doing their rent-to-own thing, which unfortunately they're not doing anymore, but I have a video about that right here, so if you want to have a look at that. They're still selling this, and I believe there's actually a sale on at the very moment now if you want to get this. Brilliant little piece of work. So let's have a listen again.
Sleeping, it's good for my eyes. Should have kept them working, burning my files.
It should be a lot hotter now from what you're hearing. This right here to take away some of that 160 noise. And then again, for the high stuff, hear that sound? Got rid of that. And added 3.6 dB up. Hit the bass a little bit, hit the presence and the treble a bit as well, and give it a little tiny bit of stereo enhancer to push it out a little bit that way. You know, to widen it a tiny bit. I'll turn it off. It automatically comes in, and I'll put it back on.
Pigs and gibbets walk the corridor.
So that's a little bit more like what you would really want to hear these days. Sound systems are so much better, and also the way that with the streaming stuff now, it's not that the sound quality is much better, but what it is that you're able to stream with much higher quality, so you'll be able to hear that really high-end stuff and a lot more of the lows that you couldn't hear back in the day. And also, back when I was doing this sort of thing, you could blow cutter heads if you had too many lows in your song. But I still like to be careful, and there's no reason to really to blow a lot of your musical energy and in terms of the volume of the song that you can get out by just having loose bass energy, which takes up a lot of power, you know. That was my reasoning for cutting below 40 here and boosting a little bit at 50 where you could hear it a little bit more. Anyway, so that's basically it, and this is what it sounds like now.
Tell me to rehearse my faces. That's hard to do when I know what the case is.
Now, I'll show you what was bugging me. So that just brought that little bit of trebly bit out, so it's not as hard on your ears. That's how I remastered the song. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now I have to do 11 more tunes for the record. Thank you so much for sticking around. 18th day in lockdown here in Kinsale in Ireland. I hope you're doing okay. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, watch your face, do like the hockey stars, you know, during playoffs, and see if I can grow this beard out. Thank you so much. Day 18, still not perfectly sunny, but a little bit. Between the clouds, I'm seeing a bit of sun, so that's good. Everyone doing okay? We're still locked in, but everything's all right.
Shows are in the business section of Manhattan. They're not in the East New York. They're not in Brownsville. The peep shows, they're not in Harlem.